Good afternoon. This is Lynsey Monterastelli with Fit Healthy Joyful, and I have been dealing with friends, family, clients, my own life in raising three girls and raising a family, and just I keep coming to this issue of grief and how we deal with grief in general and what we need to be reminded in grief. Now, I've been working with families in their health and fitness now for almost 6 years. And in that, clients come to me a lot in regards to what's going on in their life because that affects how they're getting their fitness in. That affects what they eat. Because usually when the junk hits the fan, the last thing we want to do is eat healthy. We're drawn to sugar because it makes us happier for a little while. We're drawn to caffeine when we're struggling because it gives us some energy momentarily. And then in my own life, when hard seasons have hit, I've just been thinking about what has helped, what has brought me peace, and what hasn't. And so I wanted to go over those today, and I'm hoping there will be some encouragement to you and hope to you and insight for you. I am not a counselor, and so just know this is from my own life, lifestyle coaching, and really hoping it can be a source of just encouragement to you today. And so my first step in dealing with grief would be give yourself space. We live in a microwave society. When anything is struggling, when anything is hard, there's time involved in that. There's time in healing. There's time in processing grief. And my pastor said to me once, when we had incredible loss in our lives, that the waves of grief are unexpected. And so you can be going along in your life and feel like you've dealt with that grief. And then all of a sudden something happens or something triggers something, and all of a sudden that grief comes back. And to have enough grace in your own life, and for me it's from my walk with the Lord, to meet you there in that hurt, and to give yourself the space and the time to heal. So we don't look at like a cut on our arm and expect it to heal in 2 seconds. And yet, as people, when someone is suffering, someone is hurting, we try, a lot of times, our knee-jerk reaction is we want to heal that as quick as possible because that's pain and that hurts. And I would just say, from being on both ends of it, that I have found if you are with someone who's in grief, the best thing really you can do is listen. And the best thing you can say is, I'm so sorry. Because the advice, the tips, and all of that really do not help the bleeding wound at the time. It really doesn't. Really all they need is someone there and someone to care. And so that would really be my first tip. And then my second would be, for me in different hard times, is I've had a few friends, a few girlfriends, and I'm saying there are a few, they're less than a handful, that are continually putting out hope for me right in front of my face. Hey Bethany, so glad you joined us. Having friends that put hope right in front of you when it's hard to have hope there. Okay, so that's the person who's constantly reminding you, if you're struggling, let's say with your health or your fitness, hey, look how far you've come in the last year. Don't be so hard on yourself. If it's coming to a kid that is behind or needs help or whatever it is that you're dealing with, having a friend who can remind you of the good that has happened, the hope that is there. In a kind and sensitive way, and knows you well enough to do that. That's a very small group. And so I have learned to depend on those friendships. When I'm in a hard place, they're the place I go because I know it's safe, and I know they know when to keep their mouth shut and when they can say, hey, Lynsey, stick in it. You're doing great. And figuring out who those people are that are hope-filled friends who care for you and know when to talk and know when to be silent. And then the last would be your fitness and your health. Believe it or not, I have just really found when it comes to fighting for hope in your life when things are hard, I can work out and it's almost 100% guarantee that I will feel better after I've gotten exercise in. And let me just get out some myths in regards to working out. This is literally a 20-minute walk with your heart rate up. You get in a 20-minute walk with your heart rate up in the midst of grief, and you will feel better physically. You will have better perspective. You will have less stress. And I can say this because it happens 100% of the time for me. Why do I work out? I work out because I feel better after. And I see things more clearly. And I think as women, a lot of times we can go in and we can start seeing the dark things and the hard things, and they're not in perspective. When you work out and you get your heart rate up for 20 minutes, it will bring a level of perspective that I really think nothing else can. I was just talking to a friend recently, and I'm like, I can go to these different things, that are supposed to be encouraging and all of that, and it's a 50% chance that I'm going to leave in a better place. I go and I work out, and it's 100% guarantee that I'm going to leave that place and I'm going to feel better. I'm going to have better perspective, less stress. I'll see the situation for what it is, and I'll be able to give my own self grace and love and hope in a better way after getting that exercise in. And so, going over what I just talked about, number one is giving yourself the space to grieve whatever it is that has been hard. We are not microwave people. We don't recover from things instantaneously. We're not instant popcorn and everything's better. It takes time. It takes time to heal, and giving yourself the space to do that. I also use music. Music is a huge healing thing for me. There's a CD put out by Stephen Chris Chapman that I absolutely love. Beauty in the Ashes. He wrote it after his daughter died. And it has been music that has helped me process through grief while driving as a mom. I'm in the car a lot, a lot. So you might want to check that one out. And then number two would be friends, and sharing that grief with friends who are trustworthy. This is not a big group of people. I mean, I'm trying to think in my life, I have like 4, and they're the people that I go to in hard times. I don't share the grief with any person, because I have learned, if it's not a person who really knows how to handle this, that you might actually have a harder time after talking to them. I mean, I've put my heart out there in different situations and then had that friend say something incredibly crazy that they didn't mean. I mean, they didn't mean to hurt me. But it's like, oh my gosh. For example, I have a daughter who needs behind in speech. And I was talking to someone I totally respect, I still do, and they asked me if she was going to be able to be in mainstream education. Like, that did not help the situation. And not to mention, people, we don't know the answers to those questions. We can't predict the future. We have today. And so friends who are able to keep you in this moment, do the best that you can, and give you the grace when you've messed up or when you need to see it. And then last but not least is work out and fuel yourself the best that you can. Because if you start fueling yourself with sugar, with the counterfeits, you really are... You're making the grief and even the depression worse. So sugar, caffeine, it's a vicious cycle. And so fueling your body well when life is hard is the most important. So that might be cutting back in other areas of your life if things are hard. That might be saying no more often. Oh my word. Can I just tell you, this is a bonus tip. Women, say no more often. There's a lot of good things you can be doing, but if you don't have time to be fueling your body well, then it's a sign. Say no, There's a lot of good things out there, but they don't all need you. They really don't. And so cut up the vegetables, fuel yourself that way. And if the vegetables don't sound good, if the apple doesn't sound good, you're not really hungry. You're emotionally eating. That's always a good way to tell. If you think you're hungry, but you don't want to eat an apple, then you're really not hungry. Because if you're really hungry, you'd want the apple. Same thing with your kids. Same thing with your kids. Okay? So be mindful. Be mindful of the people that you're with, and know that everyone's struggling. I was talking to a friend about some crazy things that had happened, and I couldn't understand why some people responded in this way. And this friend, so wise, said to me, Lynsey, you don't know what battle that person's fighting, and you just got some of the crap of the stress that they're dealing in their personal life. And I thought it was so wise, because sometimes people do crazy things and we don't know why. We think it's so insensitive, whatever. And in reality, they're fighting a battle we don't even know about, right? And so I hope this helped you. There's more in regards to all of this on my blog. I'm covering 3 areas there, and it's your fitness, it's your health, and it's life. It's things like this that all contribute to all 3 of those areas. And so they're all fueled by my faith. And so know that that's also there. And I would love to connect with you there, here, any way I can help. Later this week, I think probably tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about fast, easy, healthy options for breakfast. That's been a request, and I'm getting on it, and I have some options because I know school's back in, and it can be crazy in the morning. So I look forward to doing that with you. Thank you so much who joined live for this broadcast, and feel free to share with your friends. I would love that. Word of mouth is like my favorite thing. And once again, if you have any questions, please comment below things you'd like to see. I would love to cover and help you in any way I can. So have a great week, and give yourself grace and give others the same. Thanks so much for joining me.